Ladies and gentlemen, it is the best week of the year when you're having a bad season. It's bye week. The Miami Dolphins do not play football this week, so instead of doing a preview of a game about nothing, this isn't Seinfeld, we're going to do a report card on how the season's going so far, what's the coaching staff looking like, how do we think the position groups are doing, and then we get into that discussion that everybody's been waiting for, and everybody's chomping at the bits, but a lot of Dolphins fans have started this discussion weeks ago. Mm-hmm. What is next for this team? What is next for this franchise? And what is next for our head coach and our quarterback? All right, everyone, welcome back to the 305 Gridiron. We, of course, are your source for Miami Dolphins news, notes, opinions, and just all around silliness. Welcome back to the show. I got my boy Josh over here to my left. I, of course, am Anthony Pinzone, and we together are the 305 Gridiron.
There we go.
There you go. So today's show, Josh, we don't have a game this week to preview,
Correct.
As I mentioned in the kickoff here. But we do have a report card to give out.
Yes.
This is always a fun exercise. We've done this once before on our previous endeavor, and I had a blast doing it. Mm-hmm. We did this in the preseason, I believe, actually. We graded the position groups on how we thought they would be. Yep. I don't actually have that in front of me, but that would be very interesting to see how they compare.
You trust me, you don't want to look.
Good. And then, of course, we have people in the chat that are here to say hello. What's up, fam, in the chat? Jorge coming back to us,
What's
loving the topic tonight. He says he's feeling a little better. That's good.
That's amazing. That's what we want to hear.
We're the best. I love hearing that. I mean,
selfishly, me too.
I'll never get over it.
You know what? Not so selfishly.
Yeah, this is true. We are 7 subscribers away from Jorge's goal of 100 subscribers for us. So,
I love it. I love how you say that. It's not our goal. It's Jorge's goal for us.
I do love the mini goal in between goals, though. I do appreciate that. So 100 subscribers by the end of November is what let's call it a challenge. It's what Jorge challenged us.
Yes,
to do.
Threw down the gauntlet.
We are 7 away in 11 days, so we need less than 1 subscriber a day. We need to convince 7 other people to somehow hit the subscribe button who haven't actually hit the subscribe button yet. A lot of that's word of mouth. I do believe Mr. Kosek here came from word of mouth as well. Hey. Welcome back, Kosek. Good to see you here. And, of course, Gator Fan did as well. What up, Gator Fanatic? Good to see you tonight. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, True Blazers here in the house. Welcome back, True Blazer.
He's an OG. True Blazer's an OG.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see all of you tonight. I think we might be 6 away now, according to Jorge. He is better at keeping track of our subscriber count than we are.
He sure is. He sure is. and for everyone listening live and watching later, if we hit that goal by the end of November, we will be doing a mini giveaway. Couple little things. We will draw a name, a Dolphins piece of Dolphins gear, and maybe a sticker or 2 or something. 305 Gridiron. We will send it directly to you. And if we hit our stretch goal by the February 11th of 150 subscribers, we will be doing a jersey giveaway.
Oh yeah. 150 subs by February 11th. It's looking pretty good right now, but end of the season and a bad team, that the traffic can slow down. So we'll see if we get there. I'm hoping we get there.
I want us to get there.
Of course, we will be here all off season too. Our schedule is going to differ, but we'll be here. But listen, that's for another day. Let's get into the topic of tonight's show, because we are talking about how the Dolphins have fared so far. Through 11 weeks of the NFL season, we have had a lot of downs, but more recently, we've had a lot of ups. Yeah. We've won 3 of our last 4. 2 of them were convincing wins. Mm-hmm. One of them was extremely ugly. And the loss, of course, was extremely ugly as well. So I don't know what to make of this team, but you have forced my hand by telling me that we're going to do a report card this week. So I have had to come up with what to make of this team.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to get into right now. We're going to start with the quarterback position because why the heck wouldn't we? Tua Tagovailoa, I had myself a little bit of a rant.
Oh, yeah. Well,
hissy fit.
More like it. Yeah, but accurate and justifiable.
I was a little unhappy with our quarterback after this past game, and really after the past few games. And now I get to grade him.
Ooh, yeah, and it should be said, we have no idea what our individual grades are. We did not talk ahead of time. We did not share them.
I did not put it on the show sheet. Yeah.
Nope.
The show sheet does not have the grades on it. It just has what we should talk about with the grades, but does not the actual grades. It's
gonna be real fun. This is gonna be. I'm excited, as excited as our fans are.
So I'm gonna talk about the highs. You talk about the lows, and then we'll go into our grades. Because I'm gonna force myself. Okay. I'm gonna force myself to talk positive about Tua. Yeah, your turn. Nothing. At times, he has still looked like the quarterback from 2023. At times, he has been able to pinpoint a ball into a spot that you would think that was not even there or not possible to get the ball there. He had a little bit of bad luck this past week with Jalen Waddle dropping 3 passes. That is very un-Jalen Waddle-like.
Yep.
And I think overall, his accuracy and his throwing ability hasn't changed that much. It's really all mental for him. Yeah. So from the positive side, I think physically he still has the physical tools to be a good quarterback. He has no mobility whatsoever, but we've known that for a while.
Yeah.
But why he keeps trying to run it is beyond me. He's the slowest person I've ever seen. But yeah, I think he can be an incredibly efficient passer. When the first read is there, he can hit it. There's no doubt about it. But when the first read is not there, I throw it to you because we start to see the lows just kind of snowball.
Yeah, and for me, it's turnovers and bad decisions, right? Which spiral for him because he's not the type of quarterback, at least this year, that when a poor decision is made or when something in game does not go his way, he can shake it off. He has shown us time and time and time again where he sits with it. And, it might look like he's laughing it off on the sideline, but when you see his body language and his jittery feet in game when something goes wrong, immediately afterwards, it's concerning. And those big turnovers and those bad decisions, really have killed drives and flipped games for us, especially in the first half of the season when our defense was not playing, not showing up, or still, and I shouldn't say it that way, still figuring it out, right? We have a ton of young players on this team. I'm trying to give grace to rookies and understand that we went from, which is something we talk about a lot on the show, where he went from one of the oldest teams in the league to one of the youngest teams in the league. So there is naturally going to be a learning curve, and it's not good. And, and to boot, when the run game dies, right? So we've been leaning on this run game lately, and it's what you and I and many of our fans in the chat have been craving. Just please lean on the run. When that script goes away, the quarterback room, basically Tua, has proven time and time again that he can't carry this team this year.
No, if the running game's not there, then we lose. That's just the ultimate thing. I think the biggest question I have for you before we actually get into the final grade, and we ask our chat, what are your opinions on the quarterback room? In terms of quarterback room, we're just talking Tua. There's only been 17 attempts by other quarterbacks on this roster, so they don't really count towards the grade. We're talking starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. So if you have opinions on how he's been, the highs, the lows,
grade him A through F.
Grade him. If you have questions about like this one that I'm about to ask Josh, is the quarterback room playing well enough to win in January against top defenses? Were we somehow to take advantage of the soft schedule in the back half here and sneak into the playoffs?
Look, the short answer is no. The fan in me wants to say yes, absolutely, right? with how this team is playing and the script that we are implementing for the last handful of games, running a lot. Tua, just please don't fuck it up. Right. The fan in me, the young Dolphins fan from back in the day is like, absolutely, we're going to turn this thing around. We're going to win out, and we're going to play for maybe we can get into the back end of the playoffs. But the realist in me says absolutely not. I have zero faith in Tua anymore, which again, we've talked about plenty of times. This is coming from two folks on this podcast, and Anthony and myself, that were Tua guys from the start. I mean, we were on the mountain together, arm in arm, saying he's our franchise quarterback. And I've lost all faith in him, especially in big games. And we have a few of them coming up. A few national media games. We have two more national televised games.
Mm-hmm.
We have two of them coming up, one against Cincinnati and the other against Pittsburgh, I think.
Correct.
So those are, I mean, who knows? We don't play well when we're in the national spotlight. So, it's a shame. It really is.
And Cincy will have Burrow back by that game too.
Yep.
Which will be interesting for us. Yeah, good point here, Gator. Tua can't hit the throws to the sideline. That's why the middle of the field was always such a boon for him.
Yep.
But as soon as they take away the middle of the field, that's it.
Yeah, and and to Gator's point, that's what the strong arm is for.
Yeah.
If a quarterback has a strong arm, he can theoretically, as long as he's accurate, can hit the sideline passes on the outside of the numbers or the hashes. And Tua ain't it,
No. I mean, and Mike doesn't ask him to do that, right? Offense was built for him. The offense was built for him, and he's still not succeeding, and that's the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the struggle for me. So what grade do you give? I see Jorge gives Tua a C-.
Yes. I think that's very generous.
Where are you at?
Right now I'm at a D+.
Okay.
I know that sounds very harsh because there have been some things that have worked against him this season so far. Injuries, poor offensive line play at the start, poor coaching, poor scheming, poor decisions. But I cannot forgive the decisions that Tua himself has made. And I can't reconcile in my mind the quarterback that we saw in 2023 and the quarterback we see now. My mind just cannot make it make sense. So I had to go D+. I know it sounds harsh. I'm assuming you're either there or lower. But what do you got?
Yeah, ironically enough, I'm also a D+.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, there you go.
Who knew that we do a podcast together? Who knew we would have the same grade here for Tua? Yeah, D+. I can't in good conscience give him anything higher than that right now.
Yeah.
He's just, if we're talking about this season and this season alone, which we
are. Yeah.
He has not performed better than a D+ in my eyes.
No. And again, keep in mind, chat, we are not talking about the longevity of the player in the league. We are talking about this specific season in a snapshot.
Let us know in the chat what you think about the quarterback grades or what your quarterback grade is, what you think about Tua and how he's doing this year. If you are a Tua supporter, please let us know. I'd love to hear the other side of the coin because we've been kind of in an echo chamber between us and the people that we chat with regularly about Miami Dolphins football. None of us are really big Tua fans anymore. And
you know what sucks? I really want to be.
Yeah.
I want him to succeed so bad.
It's not looking good.
It's not. No.
How about we move to a more positive position? How about the running back position?
I love it.
D+ as well for Trailblazer, by the way, for Tua. So the running back position, we're going to ask for your grades ahead of time, so that way you guys have time to think about it and all that stuff. So give us your grades on the running back position and give me one word to describe Devon Achane.
Yes. Yep.
One
single
word.
A single word.
One word. Yeah. And Gator gives him a D+ as well. He's a Bama fan, and he gives Tua a D+. All right, so at least we're on the same page here as our fans too. That's good.
So I'm guessing Gator is not UF and more of the belt in wallet version. Got it.
Maybe he just really likes Gators, man.
Hey, they're delicious. I grew up in the South. Fucking Gators delicious. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah,
Running back.
let's let you take the positive on this one. The highs, we don't really have a highs and lows here because this has been our only high, completely high. But like, what are your thoughts on the running back room for this season?
Yeah, honestly, the best way that I can put it, in the most concise way that I can put it, is Achane and the backs are the most reliable, explosive part of this offense. They are the single most reliable thing that this organization has right now, across the board. And I'm including Jalen Wright in that equation as well, because in the short couple snaps that he's had throughout the season, he has shown flashes of the rookie running back that we, and by we I mean I, really fell in love with. So I could go on for hours about this running back room, but in an effort, we do have quite a lot of things to cover. I will leave it at that and pass it over to you.
My one word for Devon Achane would be dominant, because that's exactly what he's been for us. He's been dominant since we handed him the reins. It was extremely frustrating his rookie year watching Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson continue to get carries over him when he was very clearly the most explosive player we had. Now, I can't say too much about Mostert. He had 1,300 yards that year and made the Pro Bowl. So it's not like he had a bad season. But you could just see it when Achane got on the field, man. It just the explosion, the ability to hit the hole, the big play ability. I think that year he only had less than 100 carries and he had like 10 big plays. I don't know the exact stats, but it's something like that.
Yeah. What's your grade?
A+.
Yeah, same. I swear to God, we did not get together. I promise you, Chad. I swear to God, we did not.
How could you give it less? What more can the running game do? If you're out there and you're giving it less than that, what more? True Blazer, I see you. What more could the running back room do to increase their grade?
Now, I can say this. I flirted with the B+, A-. But what I did take into account, and what I tried to do for every position room, is also factor in the supporting cast that directly affects them. So in this case, in the running back room, it's the offensive line. Yeah. And the offensive line play, as we all know, has been up and down. As of late, it has been substantially better than it was at the start of the year. But if you're looking at the totality of the year, it's been down. Yeah. I'd say slightly below average. And by average, I mean average. I'm not trying
average. I mean average.
I was about to give my grade, but I was like, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
So in that, it bumped it up to an A+ because of what the impact the running back room has had, given the constraints that they are playing with, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. I still think that they are. I mean, I'm looking mostly at the starter, right? Devon Achane is 68th in receiving, right? 370 yards receiving. He's third in rushing. Third.
Yeah.
He's been playing behind a makeshift offensive line the whole season. It's something that we hear Dolphins fans talk about all the time. Offensive line is crap. When are we going to fix the offensive line?
Where is he in touchdowns? If you have it. If you don't, that's fine.
In touchdowns, let's see. I think I have to go to the scoring thing here. Points
live on the show, folks.
Yeah, touchdowns here. Sorry, it took me a second to find it. He is 7th in touchdowns.
Okay, now here's what's crazy about that. He's 7th in touchdowns, and he cedes so many carries to Ollie Gordon in the red zone.
Yeah,
because Ollie's our power back.
Yeah,
and rightfully so. I mean, I agree with that decision. But that should tell you everything you need to know about how good this player is.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Because I haven't looked at I rarely look at stats for the whole league. Jonathan Taylor has 17 touchdowns. What the hell?
No, Jonathan Taylor is playing like
that's
out of his mind.
That's insane. All right. But imagine if Achane had Ollie's carries, right? So Achane's a playmaker. He gets an A, and the running back room gets a B+ overall. Kosa wants to cut to a check. And say goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to that at all. I mean, especially if we tear this thing down to the studs, meaning everyone goes Everyone's on the block. Everyone's available. We know we're going to suck for a couple of years while we rebuild this thing. I'm all for this.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
The one word that Gator uses to describe Achane is heart.
I think that is all bold
100%.
and all caps for a reason. I love that.
Jorge agrees with True Blazer. Playmaker is the word to describe Achane. He gives him an A. Kosa's given an A- for Achane.
All right. Hey, I mean, I think we're all on the same page here for the most part.
We're pretty pumped about the running back room. At least we have one position to be pumped about.
And you know what's great? You know what's real? Sorry, Anthony. You know what's really great about the running back room is that, and it seems like we're all in agreement, is that not only are they phenomenal as a group, but they're all insanely young.
Yeah.
So, assuming we keep them all, we could have them for quite some time, which is great.
Third year, second year, and first year.
Yep.
Incredible.
3, 2, 1.
Spoiler alert, that's the only unit I have graded over a B.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
So let's move to the wide receiver room. Wide receiver room has had its problems this year. We of course superstar wide receiver Tyreek Hill, who I feel like we haven't talked about in forever because he's out for the season. Yeah. So we haven't had to talk about him. He had he's had his head cases, his fair share of off the field incidents. The incident last year at the end of the year where he gave up on the team during the Jets game and then said in the press conference afterwards that he was out.
It was Bills.
Bills? I thought we played the Jets in week 18.
Oh, I thought it was the Bills. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem.
My fault.
I could see how you would think that because we got lost so badly it should have been the Bills.
It's still with me.
Yeah. So Hill is gone. He's not really a part of the wide receiver tight end room anymore. We did bring on Darren Waller, who looked pretty good. We bring in Greg Dulcich finally to play tight end, who's looked fairly good. Of course, we have Jalen Waddle at wide receiver, who has picked up some of the slack for Tyreek. This has been a bad game, so it's a bad example. But the rest of the time, he's been doing all right. Malik Washington is the guy we both want to see more of, but just doesn't seem to really get involved in the offense. And that's it. We're looking at Cedric Wilson, Nick Westbrook, Achane, Taj Washington, D. Eskridge. They all have very minimal receptions this year, so I'm not counting them in this grouping here. So where do you see this group in terms of strength on this team and strength compared to the rest of the league?
Average.
Yeah.
Very, very white toast. Right.
Plain white toast.
Just plain toast and water, right? That's what this wide receiver and tight end room is. They're too up and down. Some games they look top half of the league. Some games they look like the worst unit in the league. And for everything the tight ends are when healthy, aka Waller, there's a lot that they don't do, especially being touted as the receiving tight ends as they are, the separators that they are. They seem to never really take the pressure off of wide receivers, which is a real big part of the wide receiver and tight end pairing. You use the wide receivers, take pressure off the tight ends, and the tight ends take pressure off the wide receivers. And it's just, it's a comedy of errors at time. You bonehead decisions at time, wrong routes at time, and you can blame that on youth. You can blame that on whatever you want. There's a ton of reasons, but none of them are good enough. You are professional athletes. You should not be running the wrong route. Tyreek Hill, you should not be dropping balls that hit you directly square in your hands. Jalen Waddle.
Both Tyreek and Jalen.
Yeah, you should not be fumbling balls. Taj, I understand it was your first game. Cool, I get it. But you know what? You've been in this system for a year, albeit you were injured, but that you were on the jugs machine. You're a professional wide receiver. Yeah. Don't fumble the ball at the one. You know what I mean? So I'll jump right into my grade. But before I do, let's pass it to the chat real quick while we are talking about our grades. One word. Give us your grade. And then overachieving, underachieving, or as expected. I'm very curious. What's your grade for them?
I gave them a C. I gave them collectively a C. Yeah. Right down the middle, average. I couldn't agree more with what you said there. They're a white toast with no butter. A completely average team. I every week that passes by, I grow angrier with Chris Grier for trading away Jonnu Smith for a freaking loaf of bread. It makes no sense to me. I would have gladly paid him the $12 million that he wanted so that this offense didn't look as inept as it does. It just continues to anger me that he's not here, and maybe I should lower it for that fact, but it's not their fault that the GM is, incompetent.
Yeah, no, I gave him a C+. I gave him a C plus. I think they're slightly above average when healthy. They showed at times that they can be a very potent wide receiver and tight end room. And at times they've showed they can not be a very good wide receiver and tight end room. So I gave him a slightly above average C plus. I think that might be grading with my heart a little bit because I am a giant Waddle fan. And he has shown since Tyreek Hill has been out, he can be a primary 1A or 1B, depending on who's talking on the mic, type wide receiver on this team, and should be on this team going forward, in my opinion, unless we get some kind of crazy offer for him.
I think they should have taken the first and third. I know it's Buffalo, and I know you don't want to trade with the division rival.
Nope. You imagine Jalen Waddle with a quarterback that could actually throw the ball?
Yeah, I can imagine the number of drops that he would lead the league.
No, I'm good.
That's more than you're going to get from anybody else. That's more than you could have imagined to get.
Because that's essentially a 2 and a 3. I'm sorry, that's essentially a 2 and a 4.
We don't know that yet. I mean, Buffalo hasn't looked that great this year.
Come on, even if they make the playoffs, you're talking a bottom third of the draft in the first round and in the third round.
I mean, I stand by what I said. I don't think Waddle's that great of a talent that you turn down that compensation. But hey, we differ.
I guess
on
you know what? I guess that would differ with who, depending on who we have making the decisions. Because if Grier was making the decisions, that is a solid no, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Drops don't help the receiving. Where QB play doesn't help either. No, I mean,
true.
Tua is able to get the ball to Waddle during the premeditated plays that we have drawn up for the first part of the game, and then not for the rest of the game.
It's insane. Because what I think you texted us, you were like, "Oh, Waddle's going to go off after the first, couple series."
It felt that way.
Nothing.
Yeah. Listen. It's just Waddle hasn't lived up to where he was drafted.
Of course.
So and that's painful. Because there's a lot of good guys drafted.
Let me ask you a question.
There.
Let me ask you a question about Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if we didn't get Tyreek Hill, so remember Waddle's rookie year, pre Tyreek Hill, he was 1,100 yards ish.
Yeah, I think he had like 1,100 and then 1,050 the next year or something like that. Yeah.
Do you think that Tyreek Hill's, as silly as this sounds, Tyreek Hill's addition to the team negatively impacted Waddle's development? You would think no off the top of your head because you're like, okay, well, Waddle's getting the second cornerback on a team because primary cornerbacks are covering Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill's getting force fed the ball 1,000 fucking times a season. You know what I mean? So do you think that there's a correlation there, or do you think Waddle just hasn't developed as well as we had hoped?
I don't think that Tyreek's presence necessarily helped. Not from what I see, though. Like in the locker room, I have no idea, right? But like the Tyreek we see is very immature. He doesn't look like a good leader. He's certainly not somebody you want your young, impressionable receiver learning from. But then like the players love him, so I can't I don't think they're seeing the same Tyreek in the locker room that we're seeing in public.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. You can't a superstar. I don't think like that unless he's so full of himself, like when Favre with Rodgers, right, and then Rodgers again with Love, where these guys were so full of themselves they had no desire to even acknowledge that the person was present in the room. And I just don't think Tyreek was like that.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it negatively affected him. I think he hasn't developed as well as we thought. We don't have a quarterback that can really support 2 wide receiver ones, if you want to put it that way. Like, Burrow struggles to support Chase and Higgins.
That's insane. What a pairing at wide receiver.
So if he struggles to support 2 wide receivers of that caliber, how is Tua going to support 2 wide receivers of that caliber? That's right. True. I mean, it's just not. Nobody ever really does, right?
I mean, you guys heard it here first. Anthony just compared Waddle to Chase and Tyreek Hill to T. Higgins. That's what I heard.
I don't really like T. Higgins, sure, if you want. Let's move on. We've been talking about the receivers far longer than we meant to. There is the chat going off a little bit here. The QB is not at fault for that, but the QB is at fault for not finding him open or not throwing him open because he starts to play scared.
And also the quarterback's limitations, right? Because when you can only call and I'm making this number completely completely arbitrary number, but let's call it 50% of created play calls because Tua doesn't have the arm to do the other 50. That limits what your wide receivers can do. And then defenses start picking up on it, which then impacts the wide receivers' production, and it's a snowball effect.
I forgot about this. We traded up to get Waddle and gave up the next year's first. And exactly this. That's the thing. That's why I'm like so on the fence with Waddle, because it's not his fault. And the same with Phillips, right? It's not their fault where they were drafted. They're probably not talented enough to be drafted where they were.
Right.
And then we just have to deal with that. And Waddle, nobody cares about Waddle's draft position anymore because it's year like 7 or something for him, year 8.
Yeah.
The blame ought to go to so-called not the play. Everybody takes some of the blame. The players are grown-ups too. That was Chase that did that.
That was Chase, not Higgins.
Yeah, I think actually Higgins may have done it too at another time. Really? But Chase is the one who did it recently.
Is he suspended? Did he get suspended?
Yeah, he got suspended for a game. All right, let's move on. Offensive line. We can make this one a little quick if you want. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say. I think they've been improving a lot over the past few games, and that did impact my grade. My grade has gone up for them because of how much they've improved over the past few weeks. I think that Baldy, what's his full name? Baldinger, former offensive lineman in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He put out a video congratulating our offensive line coach and giving him props for coming up with a plan to make our offensive line better by putting out different packages and different schemes, and it has really worked. You can see it. You can see the impact. So, I don't know what else do you have to say. Do you trust this offensive line on like a 3rd and 7 more now than you did a few weeks ago?
I'm trending, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm trending to yes, because they really, the last 4 weeks, they've been playing very good football.
Yeah.
Boneheaded moves, or boneheaded play penalties. Shit happens. Savania seemingly has, I wouldn't say turned it around completely, but is playing like a serviceable NFL offensive lineman. Larry Borum, I think PFF graded him in this past game as the #1 offensive tackle.
That's insane. Are they drunk?
I don't know, but he played a phenomenal game. So it's starting to come together. So, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would trust him down the stretch. I would.
I gave him a C+.
I gave him a C-. All
right. That went up for me. What did you guys give him in the chat? I'm sorry I didn't ask you ahead of time. I need to start asking you guys before.
You know what? We can do a blanket statement. Hey guys, we'll call out the segment. You guys give us your grades.
Right. Exactly. So offensive line, I gave him a C+. Josh gave him a C-. A massive amount of improvement over the last few weeks. Big shout out to the O-line coach whose name I don't even know.
Is it Butch Berry? No, that's the.
No.
Who the hell is our offensive line coach?
Some guy. You can look it up.
Some guy.
Gator gave it a C+. Good job, Gator. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move into the opposite end, though. The front 7. This is the defensive line. Thank you, True. Defensive line and the linebacker core. We combine them because we run a 3-4 mostly, so these guys switch out a lot. I have not been very high on this unit. Just a bit of a preview. I haven't been very high on this unit this year. This unit had the highest of expectations that I've had for a Miami Dolphins unit in years.
I mean, we were saying top 5.
If we went back and looked at our preseason grades, I bet this was an A+ for this unit or around there.
I know that I gave them an A-, which is nauseating.
So front 7. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. There's a lot to say about this group. We got rid of Jalen Phillips, obviously. He's been playing lights out in Philadelphia. So happy for him. Yep. He wasn't playing that way here. For anybody who's like having like a panic attack because we gave away a superstar. We wasn't playing like that here.
Yeah, he wasn't. And don't forget, he's on a much better coach and a much more talented defense now.
Yeah, he didn't have the support system. Like he was the only one to focus on. We have Bradley Chubb, who's having a pretty good year. Chop Robinson continues to get better game after game. That's our pass rushers. Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson in the middle of linebacker core are very up and down players, but when they're up, I mean it's impressive. And then KJ Britt and Willie Gay Jr. are behind them. They haven't really played enough football, I don't think, to count them towards this grade. But they are there. And then, of course, the defensive line, We got Sealer, Benito Jones, Kenneth Grant, and then 2 rookies, Jordan Phillips and Zeke Biggers, or 3 rookies. Kenneth Grant's a rookie as well. So, to the chat, who is your defensive MVP so far? Not just the front 7, the entire defense. If you had to pick one, because I think this is the hardest question Josh has put on these show notes, if I'm being honest.
Sorry.
Who would your defensive MVP be so far? So while you're giving us your grades for the D-line, think about that. And then I'll throw it over to Josh. Josh, what are your thoughts on what I am calling the most disappointing unit that we've, based on expectations?
Yeah, I would agree. So a little note. It's front 7. So give us your grades for edge, collective unit, defensive line, edge, and linebacker. Not just the defensive line. And who's your defensive MVP? For me, I gave us a B-. I know that seems high for how disappointing they have been versus expectations. But I do think when you look at the strength of this team and the second half of the season so far, it's been the front 7. Okay. You have our 2 rookies coming into their own. They're playing substantially better. Grant made multiple impact plays across multiple weeks. Sealer has finally got into the sack column a couple times. Chubb is walking at least a sack a game. I know how you feel about him, as do I from time to time, but Brooks is a walking 15 tackles a game. Mm-hmm. Good, bad, or indifferent. You still got to make the tackle. The only thing that kept this from being any higher was the second and third linebacker position. Terrell Dotson has jumped off a cliff from a production standpoint, and not in a good way. Yeah. Not that jumping off a cliff is good. I was very high on us re-signing him. He was the very first one that I wanted us to re-sign this past off season, mainly for a backup role. Unfortunately, he was signed to be a starter, and I don't think he fits that role real well. I think if he was a backup, like a super sub, if you will, he would be having a phenomenal season, but I think it's too much on his shoulders. But yeah, B- for me.
We were both super surprised by that too, because I think when we re-signed Dotson, we thought, okay, cool, we have our third linebacker.
Exactly.
And then we signed Gay, and we thought maybe Gay slides into that starting spot.
I kind of assumed you would, him or Britt.
Yeah, it hasn't happened. Hasn't happened. The C- from True Blazer. We got a D- from Jorge. Thinks they're underachievers.
That's a defense. It looks like he said defense as a whole.
Whatever. Defense, front 7, same thing. Yeah. This is kind of crazy to me. I don't know what the hell I'm watching, but I thought Brooks looked way out of place in this game. So I guess I'm wrong. Shout out to him. Defensive Player of the Week.
He's gotten a couple of those this year, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Butch Berry is the O-line coach, according to Gator, by the way. So good call on that. Kosa is a huge fan of Anthony Weaver. I don't know if you know this, but I think Kosa and Anthony Weaver are
publicist.
They're going to be best friends. Best friends. Love it. So MVP is Brooks from a few people here. I honestly, I think I'd have to say the same thing. Nobody else stands out on this defense.
No.
I would love to give it to Minka, but he's had a very, and you'll see what my grade is on that, but he's had a very just kind of blah season.
I think he's trying to do too much. I think the only other person I could think of that should be and could be in the MVP conversation is Chubb.
Chubb.
He's our only sack producer on a regular basis.
Yep. Agreed. Oh, I didn't get to my grade yet here. I'm a C for the front 7.
Okay.
I think they've been incredibly average. I think they've been so
disappointing
to me personally as a unit that I thought was really going to shine this year. I thought Chop was going to take a bigger step forward. Now, that's not all his fault.
No.
Anthony Weaver has not put him on the field as often as he should, which, to Kosa's point, what the hell?
That's not on him.
So, I think Chop has the potential to be right up there with Chubb as talking about like a guy who's regularly getting sacks.
Yeah.
But he's just not put out there often. He needs work. We talked about this on the Frozen Fin Fans chat in the morning. Like, he needs some work. He needs some more moves. But I think he's doing great stuff. So.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the preseason where it's like, okay, I could see a scenario in which over 60% of the time we have Chop, JP, and Chubb on Chubb on the field. Yep. And that just never came to fruition. It's crazy to me.
For the first time ever, we had 4 legitimate pass rushers.
Yeah.
And we had no idea how to use them.
Yeah. And maybe that was just, Weaver trying to figure it all out for whatever reason. It looks like Taylor himself is here.
Hey, welcome in, Taylor.
What's up,
C?
buddy?
Okay. Did I miss any grades? I had a D-, a C-, and a C. I think that's all the grades that we got for the front 7.
Yep.
Gator says Juju's injury is really going to hurt. And when he was starting to play better. Yeah, I mean, it could. The defensive backs have just been. Amazingly, they haven't been playing as bad as I thought they would.
No.
And
shockingly.
Speaking of, we're about to roll into them, so let's talk about the defensive backs.
Let's do it.
Give us your grades for the defensive backs. For the secondary, that's cornerback, safeties, all that. So, guys I'm looking at are Jack Jones, Juju Brents for the 2 games that we had him. Rasul Douglas was in there. Storm Duck played a little bit this season. Of course, Minka Fitzpatrick and Ashton Davis and Melifonwu on the back end. The secondary has been susceptible to letting up explosive plays. Their tackling has been subpar. Their communication and Weaver's scheme has been something to be desired.
Yeah.
But in the past 4 weeks, you can't sit here and say they've been awful.
No, they've been above average.
Now, they beat Marcus Mariota and Kirk Cousins. Whatever.
Context.
They beat Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And they beat Josh Allen rather handedly.
Mm-hmm.
Will that happen again? If we somehow made the playoffs and we had to face... I'm not confident in it. I'm not confident in this defense as a whole. But you got to look at what they've been doing, how they've improved. And if the offensive line has improved quite a bit, and I'd probably give the offensive line the most improved position on the team, I think the secondary has been surprising to me based on expectations where I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, kind of the polar opposite of the front 7.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
exactly.
Front 7, we were like, this is going to be a top 5 unit in the NFL. Not so much. Cornerback room, we're like, this might be the worst in history. And yes, they've given up too many explosive plays. Yes, horrible angles, horrible missed tackles, miscommunications with like you alluded to with passing defender offensive players off in zone coverages. But somehow over the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think we found some kind of secret juice or something. I don't know, because they'll look shaky, but then they make a play. Whereas before they were just looking shaky.
Yeah.
And, perfect example, the game against Washington.
Yep.
I admittedly only watched the short version of it. I did not watch the whole game because I was on vacation. But that drive before the game sealing interception, Washington was doing whatever they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, boom, interception, game over.
Yeah.
So
I will say though, Mariota was testing fate the entire game.
Oh, yes, he was.
There was like 3 almost interceptions throughout the game. And then finally, and what was just happened to be a peak moment for us.
Bam.
Jack Jones gets and not only gets the interception, he does the celebration of
Ronaldo. Ronaldo. Yeah,
he does the Ronaldo celebration. Which I recognize the celebration. I just couldn't put a name to it, obviously, as a non-soccer fan.
SUIII. Or SHUIII.
Yeah. So, Abel, welcome to the chat, buddy. Good to see you, man. So, we're doing a report card today, so feel free to chime in. We're talking about the defensive back unit. Josh gave them, I don't know, what'd you give them?
C+.
A C+. I don't think you actually said what you gave them yet. Gator gave them a C-. Jorge gave them a C+. I have given them a C, actually. I think they're just about average as well.
Yeah, the only reason I went, I was thinking C. The only reason I went plus was because of those impactful plays as of late.
This is the one unit where I might have a little rose-colored glasses on, because are they an average unit in comparison to the rest of the NFL? Probably not. But because they've been playing better lately, that's skewed my grade a little bit.
Well, and compared to what I thought they were going to be.
True.
I mean, I legitimately thought like a high school quality cornerback room. And, they've proven me exponentially wrong. So.
I gotta say, I'm keeping score here of
Mhm.
everybody's, not just you and me, but all the chats that I see.
And
Not
Abel,
by
I know you came in late, but we went over every position room. So we did cornerbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight end together. Front seven or offensive line, front seven, and secondaries that we just went over.
Yep.
Or no, secondaries that we just went over. So give us your grades on all of those.
Yeah, but just looking at the chat's answers, a lot of season Ds.
Yep.
Season Ds. It gives you a little feel for where the fan, at least our fan base is.
And you didn't talk about Minka.
Minka's been. I mean,
Mhm.
if Minka is playing better, this grade would be higher than a C for me because I think he's the anchor of that unit.
I think he's doing too much. He's being asked to do too much.
Which is the same thing we saw with Holland last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now Holland hasn't exactly performed well in New York this year.
Neither has Jordan Poyer.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. Let's move on. Special teams. The special teams unit includes the kicker and the punter and the kick returner and the punt returner. So the kick returner and the punt returner are Malik Washington, D. Eskridge, and recently Jalen Wright, the running back, which is very surprising to me. The kicker is obviously Riley Patterson, who's been filling in valiantly for Jason Sanders, who's been hurt. And the punter is Jake Bailey, who won the kicking competition against Ryan Stonehouse in the preseason, much to our surprise, and has been pretty lights out.
He's been pretty damn good
so far this season. So in the chat, hit us up with your... First of all, if you want to just throw grades, that's fine, but give us your thoughts on the unit as well. Would really love that. Josh, I think this unit's been playing pretty well. I want to hear your thoughts on it, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much positive in this unit. Let me just get it out of the way. I gave an A-.
Yeah.
As a unit altogether. We've had a return for a touchdown. Multiple weeks at the beginning of the season, we were the number one to number 3 ranked special teams unit from an average starting field position versus opponents. Our punter has been lights out. There has Jake Bailey. I despised him last year.
Yes, you did.
I mean, true vitriol when it came to him because of the average was 42-yard punt that he had for was over the season or whatever it was. He has been lights out this year. And Patterson, he 2 misses, I think, on the year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe something 3. Like I can't really remember. Look, I don't think he's better than Sanders.
No.
Mainly because Sanders was in my opinion, was as close to a sure thing as you can from 50 yards plus. Yeah. So the fact, that hurt the grade a little bit, but all in all, they've been better than I expected. And I am a huge fan of our special team coach. I hope whatever GM and whatever teardown that we experience this offseason, whether it's substantial or whether it's a small teardown, I hope our special team coach stays because he has been phenomenal.
Kosa, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but we've only missed 1 extra point on the season. Riley Patterson has missed 2 field goals and 1 extra point on the season. I think he has performed admirably in a position he was signed off our practice squad. He was living on our practice squad for the first 3 weeks of the year because they were hoping Jason Sanders would be able to come back before they gave him a full contract. I gave them a B, and I gave them a B because I think there's limitations at kicker. The kicker can't kick a 50-plus yarder.
Right.
So if we're put in that situation where we need a 50-plus yarder to win, we're not going to be able to do it. Right. As good as he's been, like you said, he's not as good as Jason Sanders, but he's been doing his job. 1 missed extra point, 2 missed field goals. He's 19 field goals attempts, and I forget what the extra point attempts were. 24 extra point attempts. I think that's really good. I think the kick return unit has been fairly good. I lowered it because I don't think the coverage unit has been that good as of late. I think that we've been getting chunked by opposing special teams returners lately. And the last thing that our defense needs is for you to be giving them good field position.
True. Now keep in mind, the other thing that I took into account is the new kickoff rule format, which is a plus for the team returning the ball. The whole purpose of this new rule was to make the kicking game more entertaining. So it favors the team that is getting kicked off to the receiving team. So I did take that into account as well, because I think we are doing a relatively good job, all things considered.
Yeah, perhaps my grade is a little low for them. That's if the defensive back grade is a little high. I think this one might be a little low.
Sure.
But I do think I am very happy with special teams, if that's not
100%.
clear. I think the kicker, the punter, the returners, they have all been fantastic this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Coast is spicy today, by the way.
I love it.
I don't know if you noticed. He's coming in hot.
I love it. I got to say, Costa, I get excited when I see something pop up from you because I never know what it's going to be. It gets me like it's a podcaster's dream to have a fan like you.
I love the spicy energy. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra point was blocked, by the way. This year is so many blocked kicks, man. I don't know what's going on.
Tons.
Crazy.
And we got a ton of grades for special teams as well in here in the chat.
Yeah, I got them all. Got an A-. Gator changed his from a B+ to an A-. Yep. I got that. I got an A, a B+, and an A from Abel. Abel, I got all of yours. I think the only one you missed was receiver and front seven. Wide receiver, front seven.
Yeah, wide receiver, front seven. Yep.
So let's move into the last one that we're going to grade, and that's the coaching staff.
Can I please go first?
If I'm being honest, I skewed mine largely towards McDaniel on this.
I purposely didn't.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the other guys to not. I mean, because McDaniel calls the offensive plays. I don't know what the hell Frank Smith is doing. So Anthony Weaver and Mike McDaniel were kind of the two guys that I based my grade on.
Yeah. Well, I took into account special teams as well, right? And I'm obviously I was very high on special teams.
That's true.
I gave us a D- for coaching and culture, which was altogether. I think Mike McDaniel, if I was just grading him, if I'm being honest, it's an F. And it's an F- if that's even a thing. Wow. I think Anthony Weaver early season was a D. Right now is a C+, B-. He's got this defense playing well with the limitations. He's seemingly calling the right plays in big games. And still having some bonehead decisions, right? I mean, I think we can just say that across the board. That is a blanket statement. I think special teams kept this from being an F for me when I look at it as a whole. And I don't like what the culture is on this team. And I know that's a real flashy term. Look, I'm a Heat fan. I'm an Inter Miami fan. Culture is a big thing as a Heat fan. That's always the Heat culture. If anyone in the chat, if you're a basketball fan, you've heard this. If you are a Heat fan from Miami, culture is big, and I think culture is something tangible. And I think it's very easy to slap they're in Miami. It's a fun city, and everything's lax. And look at their head coach. He wears glasses. He wears whatever the kind of pants that he wears. That's what he wears, and he's not like a real coach. He's like everyone's friend. I'm sorry, that's not the Miami sports that I know, that I grew up watching. I mean, I grew up watching, Pat Riley and the Heat, Dan Marino and the Dolphins, and Shula, and even with the Panthers as of late, the Florida Panthers, everything is serious. Everything is, we are going to build from the trenches out. We are going to play lunch pail, smash mouth, punch you in the face, and not back down football. And I don't like what this is, man. I really don't. That's just me. Maybe it's a little old school, gray hair kind of mentality. But yeah, coaching and culture, man. When I look at it as a whole, it's a D-.
I'll be honest, I did not notice that you put culture tied in with this, and I graded purely on the coaches.
Probably the same.
It's not for me. I wrote down an F for culture if I was going to do them separately.
Yeah.
I don't like the culture either. I think it's, I don't know. And I'm a playful guy. I'm a playful guy at work. I probably am very similar to Mike McDaniel in my work environment.
Same.
I am very goofy and fun, and I like to keep it lighthearted. And I see that a lot of he does is that he doesn't want his guys getting too beat up, and I appreciate that. But there's times when you need to be professional, and he just doesn't know those times, right? I will say this past weekend when he was getting rage at the refs, finally,
yeah.
Where has that been?
Accountability is soft benching Tua, like you pointed out in last show.
Yeah. It took you almost 4 years and having to have your job be put on the line in front of the national media, essentially, to finally show some oomph, some emotion on the sideline. And it's always been surprising to me. I was really happy when we signed him. The exact opposite of Brian Flores. Flores never showed his emotion. He never showed he cared. He never showed any of that. And I don't like that super far into the spectrum either. Like I want somebody in between these two. And when Mike came in, I thought, great, somebody who is a player's coach. I relate to him and how he acts. I relate to him and how he approaches things. But it just overall, like, there's not enough seriousness to win in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is too. The NFL is too competitive to take your eye off the ball for a second.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's just too much goofiness.
Yeah, it's not like the NFL or the NBA where you have 82 games. You have a very finite amount of games, and you cannot take a breath.
Yeah,
you know.
I'll be honest, on coaching, I gave a C+. We are very far apart on that. I think that from a coaching perspective, Mike has done a lot of good things. Like I only thought you were going to be higher because of the things we've been talking about lately. Mm-hmm. I think he's been hampered by a quarterback, but that's his choice. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that's clear. He's been hampered. I think he's been hampered a lot by the culture he's built, and that does fall on him. It absolutely falls on him. Mm-hmm. I think his X's and O's are probably what I gave the C+. From an X's and O's standpoint, the guy comes up with a lot of plays. Like you said, he's changed the NFL. Teams are stealing stuff from us left and right.
Yep.
But the culture he's built is a culture of no accountability. It's a culture of if you drop the ball 3 times in a game, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll get him next time.
That's why I gave him an F.
You'll get him next time.
Yeah.
I was hoping Anthony Weaver would get better. I think, now that I'm talking about it, I think this is probably more in the D+, C- range than the C+ range. Mm-hmm. I think I'm coming to where you stand with Mike in that I think he might be a good offensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's got a brilliant offensive mind.
And I think up to this point, I haven't felt that way. I felt up to this point that I didn't want to see him as a coach ever again, period. But the more we see him work around some of the situations, work around the Tua situation and all that stuff, the more I think, he'd be a good offensive coordinator. But just from an overall coaching perspective, the culture especially, if I combine these 2 grades, I'm right where you are at a D-.
That's how I got there. Culture and Mike McDaniel were lower grades. Weaver and special teams coaches and offensive line coaches and all of that brought it up.
Yeah. I think another part of it is just me. I am getting copium in early right now because there is a better than real chance that he is still here next year.
Sure, absolutely.
If we win just a couple more games, I'm sorry to tell you, boys, he's still here next year. And I'm starting to just try to get to grips with how that could happen and why that could happen, and trying to look at things from a different perspective. So I know, Abel said that C+ is very generous. I think that's just kind of me.
Copium tastes great right now.
That's me coping.
And I'll be honest, we talked about it right before we went live, and I'll be really curious. Chat, give me one word: Tua or MMD. Who do you think has affected the other more? Because in my opinion, when I look at both, if I was to have one of them back next year, which I understand what we were talking about off show, you're probably, if you're getting one, you're getting both. But in this made up scenario in which I could only, if I chose one, the other would go, I would choose Mike McDaniel to get rid of Tua, as opposed to keeping Tua to get rid of Mike McDaniel. Because I do think, to your point, Tua has hindered Mike McDaniel tremendously.
Yeah.
Cut half of his kind of brain trust of offensive play calls out the window because he's limited physically, and now seems to be limited mentally. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's talk overall grades. I've kind of just quickly in my head culminated all the grades from everybody in the chat, and of course Josh and myself. For the quarterback room, cumulative grade is a D+. For the running back room, it's an A. Wide receiver, tight end room, it's a C. Offensive line, it's a C+. Look at that. Dolphins fans voting their offensive line at C+. How about that? The front 7, it's a C. The defensive back room, it's a C. Special teams, it's a B+. And the coaching, it's a D.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
That's where we are.
I like it.
Yeah. I think Kosa really likes McDaniel too.
Yeah, he's the publicist. He's the publicist for both Weaver and Mike McDaniel.
I mean, does Pittsburgh develop Skylar Thompson? I'm just Curious.
Let
How
yeah,
many
let's.
seventh round picks get developed?
I mean,
Kosa,
outside
I think when
of
you're putting
Brady.
your point together, just stop after the first period because usually you make like a really good point in your first sentence and then you add in something. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
But no, I completely agree with your state. I mean, he came in as this guy who was supposed to be a QB whisperer, and he hasn't developed a backup quarterback.
well, okay, timeout. He came in as a run game guru.
That's true. But a lot
He's
of people
not.
were touting him as a QB whisperer. I don't know where he got that.
I don't either. And I think it was more copium on everyone else's part. Because like, well, you're, Tua, and you got him to smile, so you must be a quarterback whisperer. But he came in as a running game guru, as a savant when it comes to the running game.
True.
And we'll see.
Let's
See what
talk
happens.
now. What I know that we are kind of, we're at an hour already, so we're gonna keep going though, because we don't have a Monday show this week. Spoiler though, we didn't mention that actually.
We did last show, but yeah,
we did last show, but we don't have a Monday show this week. So this one might be a little bit longer as we need to get our our fair share of talking in for the week.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
What would you guys do without hearing us ramble on about nonsense for?
Probably sleep better if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So Tua goes, keep the coach. This one also says Abel also says Tua. This is a really good question that Josh posed to me the other day, and I didn't really know how to answer it, to be honest.
Yeah, Abel, that is the question. I mean,
they made each other.
They made each other, but I think Brady certainly outran Belichick in that race.
Yeah, maybe. He was a 6th round pick though, so
pretty good. Who couldn't run, ironically enough. Anyways.
All right, next segment, buddy. You want to lead us? Or you want me to keep going?
Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
All right. The next segment, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is now what? Mm-hmm. We have the grades of the team. Overall, we're looking at a C- overall grade, I would say, if I put all the grades together. So we are below average team in the National Football League, which I think we could have said before we even put all those grades together. So now what do we do? Let's start talking a little bit about how this team gets built up. And I don't know that we're going to go into super huge detail here, Josh, because we don't know a lot of stuff still.
No, we're going to mention some names. We're going to talk high-level stuff. We will have shows dedicated to all of this content later on.
I like what you did here, though, with the notes, because we're talking like type of.
Yes.
Yeah, type of GM, type of coach, type of system. So let's get into the GM first. Truthfully, I didn't know there was types of GM. So I'm kidding. We're going to get into the GM first. Chris Grier is out already. Champ Kelly is the interim. Marvin Allen is still in the building in some sort of capacity helping out with the GM role. So an external search is looming. I've seen some chitter and some chatter out there that there's been some interest that this is seen as a desirable position as a GM.
Mm-hmm.
And that there are a lot of people calling the Ross and company.
Yeah.
So to the chat, before we get into it, what type of GM would you guys rather have? And here's the 3 options that we gave you. If there's another option you can think of, throw that in the chat. We're not trying to hamper you here. Would you rather have a draft nerd, a cap wizard, or a culture builder?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick a GM today, would you rather have a draft nerd, a cap wizard, or a culture builder? Let us know in the chat. We're going to get talking about some of these names here. Now that Chris Grier is out, Champ Kelly's in. We don't believe Champ Kelly's going to get promoted to full-time GM. What are we looking at, Josh, in terms of options? There's a lot of people calling. I don't know what that means. Who's calling? What types of people do we even want calling? And why is this job desirable?
Yeah, I think this job is desirable because you have for as much as he is maligned, you have an owner that is willing to spend money, that is willing to, put his money where his mouth is. Arguments can be made that he doesn't know when to pull the ripcord because he's loyal, or some people say stupid or whatever. I don't know, ignorant, whatever.
Yeah, a billionaire that's stupid. That'll be the day.
Yeah, right. But this is a team with money, a shitload of money. Yeah. This is a team with a very good stadium in an amazing city, and has an amazing history. And I think for any of this, whatever the new GM is that is coming in to shepherd kind of the next phase of the Miami Dolphins history, is going to seemingly from everything that we are hearing and reading between the lines and hearing in the media, and is going to get to completely direct the ship in and of itself by himself or herself, depending on who gets selected. And I think for a GM or an individual that is leaving something comfortable, something that is known, because a lot of these names have been with their organizations for quite some time. They're not going to leave for just any job. They're not going to leave if they have to play nice in the sandbox, for lack of a better term. Yeah. And I think that is what the really good thing is. You're coming to a team where you get to rip it down to the studs, should you choose, you being the new GM. And you get to completely make decisions you get to put your money where your mouth is, push all your chips into the center of the table, and let's see what happens. Let's see how good you are at your job. And when you're at that level, rather, in an organization, that's what you want, because you've bet on yourself so much to get to where you are as an assistant GM, for example. In a lot of these cases, you get to finally make those decisions. And we asked you guys in the chat, draft nerd, cap wizard, culture builder. You have the draft. In my mind, there are really three types of GMs, and I don't mean to be very high level with this, because obviously there's some that have a little bit of each and whatever the case is. But if you look at a lot of the GMs that are successful across the NFL, they're jack of all trades and all key things, but they excel at one of those. Mm-hmm. And so you have the draft developmental guy, the guy like, and I hate to put his name in here, but Chris Grier, who was a scout for 37 years or whatever it was. And so you have to believe coming in that someone that's been a scout, that was maybe there was one guy that Kyle Crabb was talking about, and I'm blanking on his name. I think it was the assistant GM or the player president of player personnel in Dallas, I think is who he was talking about, where he was head coach in arena football. He played football in college as a cornerback, I think it was, or a safety or something like that. He played in the NFL at that position for a short amount of time, became a scout, then went from scouting to player personnel, then analyzing draft rooms and helping build draft boards, and has just worked his way up and had his fingers in all the pots. But you have those draft development guys that focus and excel in identifying players in college to fit their scheme. You have the cap people and the trade operators like the Eagles. I'm blanking on his name. Howie Roseman, who seemingly every single year gets the person they need, trade or draft. You have the culture guy, right? The you're gonna have to help me here. I'm struggling with names. Kansas City's coach,
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid. I consider Andy Reid a top culture coach. He knows how to get every ounce of talent out of his players. Now, you wouldn't know given their 5-5 record, but hey, it is what it is. So those are kind of
had plenty of success to have a down year, I think.
Right, exactly. You look at Tomlin, for example.
Yeah,
not someone that immediately comes to mind as a draft guy or a cap guy, but when you talk culture or when you talk toughness, Tomlin is at the top of everyone's list, and there's a reason for that.
But those are coaches.
Do what?
Those are coaches.
Right. Sorry. I kind of.
You went
I went off. Sorry. I got ahead of myself.
You're fine.
But anyways, you get the point.
Yeah.
And so some examples of names that are not linked per se, but that are worth a conversation. And if you could, I forgot to write him down. Could you look up the name of the Eagles, Howie's assistant GM? I'm blanking on his name. But in-house, it's Champ Kelly. I think Champ Kelly has changed what we are used to seeing in a GM. I know he's the interim GM, but we went from kind of a squirrely person in Chris Grier, who was kind of hiding away up in the rafters, and you never really saw him on the sidelines, and you never saw him in any hype videos, and he was never in the locker room. He was just kind of the shadow up in the distance, making shitty fucking decisions for decades and not getting held accountable, to a guy in Champ Kelly who's kind of buttoned up from an appearance standpoint on the sidelines. He was dapping up players. I saw a video somebody put together online. I'm sorry, I can't call you out. I don't remember what your name was, but someone put something out on Reddit where it was a montage of sideline videos of Champ Kelly dabbing people up, chest bumping, high-fiving people after big plays. And this is the assistant GM, potentially a full-time GM either here or somewhere else. And then you have external guys like, Andy Weidel, the Steelers assistant GM, Terrence Gray, the Bills assistant GM, Joe Hortis, the Chargers GM from the GM tree. You have Howie's assistant, who I'm blanking on his name.
I put it in there. Hallaby.
Hallaby. Yeah, Hallaby, who's one of my favorite candidates, probably my number one candidate for the job right now. And those are the kind of, when I think about a GM, and I'm going on a huge rant here. Sorry, Anthony, for not giving you a chance to chat. But when I think of the next GM that I want for the Dolphins, I want somebody that's not necessarily, he doesn't have to come from a successful program from a record standpoint. But what I'm hoping for, I guess I shouldn't say what I want, but what I'm hoping for is a GM that comes in with a track record of working with successful front offices, because there's a huge difference. Just because your team, one of the assistant general managers that I have on my list is the assistant GM from Cleveland. Now, Cleveland has been a dumpster fire, but you look at some of their draft picks and some of the players that were drafted there and went to other teams and turned successful because they were good players, just in a bad position. Those are I'm not excluding anyone from my list, but I'm blanking on his name again.
I do not know Cleveland's.
No, the guy from the Eagles that you just said.
Hallaby.
Thank you. Hallaby is the ideal type of GM candidate for me.
Yeah. I want a wheeler and dealer. I want a guy who's confident and knows and can go into a room and just command respect, right? Command attention. I want the guy who people have a hard time saying no to. Mm-hmm. I want that powerful salesman style person. And with that, I want that person to be able to build a strong team. To Abel's point in the chat here, I can't find it. If you can find it, throw it up there. I want a guy who can come in and build a strong team of scouts that he knows he can rely on. That he knows he doesn't have to go out and do all this film study himself, because he's got 8 to 10 people under him that are doing a fantastic job of it, and he can rely on their scouting reports, and he can listen to their scouting reports with great confidence. And that gives him the freedom to go out there and make those moves, right? The one thing I admire the most about Howie is that Howie's not afraid to, I'm at a 4 and you're at a 3. Okay, let's do the 3, right? He doesn't have to win every trade. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care. He just wants to make his team better. And that's the guy I want. Like, that's the guy I'm looking for. The guy who will do what it takes to make the team better, even if it's paying up a little, And I don't know who that is. I don't know names. But I know the type of guy I want, and it's pretty much the exact opposite of Chris Grier.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Lots of good stuff going on in the chat, by the way. Let me get
just quickly read through it while you were going on while you were talking about your preferred GM type.
And maybe anyone is better than Grier. Yeah, I mean, that's true. A culture builder for Jorge.
Yep.
All right. I think we're going to see that one a lot. Whoever comes in, even if they do one good move, we're going to eat it up. Of course we are.
Oh, absolutely.
If we win a playoff game, could you imagine?
Like, even if the new GM somehow figures out a way to trade Tua without us incurring $148 million in a dead cap, I will throw a parade for that guy.
That's the type of guy I want. I want a guy who's going to somehow convince Cleveland that Tua is the future for them.
No, I'm thinking someone that can convince Jacksonville to take Tua and trade us Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, God. I don't like Lawrence isn't any better. See, there is no culture builder, please. Draft nerd and culture builder. So Abel picks 2. Yeah, I think the combo wombo is going to be a good one here.
Yeah, for sure.
We need better scouts. Yeah. Unless Grier's just not listening to the scouts. I mean, you've seen stories like that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. No surprise here that Taylor prefers the draft nerd
because he basically wants to hire himself.
I know what Josh meant. I was just reminding him that he was naming coaches after he named
sorry. I went on a completely different route.
Gator likes the assistant GM from the Bucks.
That is so much so, yes.
Yeah, yep. Bucks have done a good job. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know a ton about Agnew, but I've definitely heard his name thrown out there in circles at this point.
Well, look at what that team has done.
Yeah.
That is that is in a perfect scenario, the type of team culture player acquirer that you would get. Yep. Mike Greenberg. Yeah, he's another name that is consistently in. Yep.
Like the ESPN analyst?
No, it's another one. I say it every time. I'm like,
like more than anything, I just want somebody who's confident in his or her abilities to come into a room and be able to make stuff happen. Yep. We talked about that a little bit about our show. Like yesterday, or Monday, you and I had a powwow after the show. Like, to me on the show, my big thing is always coming to you with an answer to a question, even if you throw me off, or even if the chat throws me off, or it's more entertaining to always have an answer. And from a GM perspective, it's not about entertainment, it's about professionalism. And it's always, I want to see a GM who comes in with a plan, and that plan is known. Hey guys, hey Dolphins fans, I'm here. This is my plan. This is how I'm going to do it. This is my 10 steps to get there. This is exactly how I'm going to build this team, right? And because I haven't felt like there's been a plan on this team in so long. Hit the like button, hit subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of November, by the way. So if you like what you're here, or if you like just interacting with us, really appreciate that, because we love interacting with you. Hit the like button, hit subscribe button. We're at 94 subs, I believe Jorge said. So we're 6 away from getting to our goal of 100 subs. Well, actually, our challenge, our chat challenge.
Our chat challenge.
Of 100 subs by the end of November. So really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's free. Hit the subscribe button.
And again, I'm going to plug it. Sorry, Anthony. I know I do it a lot.
That's okay.
If we reach our 100 by the November, by the end of this month, we'll be picking somebody at random and sending out a piece of Dolphin swag and some show swag. And if we hit our stretch milestone, which is February 14th or 11th or 12th or sometime in February, of 150, Dolphins jersey will be sent out to one of our lucky subscribers.
All right. So since we are going to be here all night if we don't hurry up something. So I'm going to do the power 10 minutes, let's call it, the power 10, whatever we want to call it.
Sure.
We're going to power through the next part, and I'm just going to ask you and the chat for your names in these different situations, because we're about to talk coaches, and we've talked a lot about the coach already. We have a very, very good understanding of what the chat thinks about this coach.
Yep. They want to keep him. They want to extend him.
We've talked about his pros and cons of him already, and you have a thing in here to ask the chat if they want to keep him or fire him. We know the answer to that already. So everybody in here seems to be on the fire him train, except for Kosa, who loves him. I'm just kidding, Kosa. Love you, buddy. I mean, you're definitely leading the train. You're driving that shit.
You're
love
such
it.
a smart ass, Anthony.
All right, so let's go. If fired, what kind of player, what kind of coaching profile do you want next? You were just talking a lot about Andy Reid and a lot about Mike Tomlin. So the next type of profile, similar to what we did with the GMs, you want a young offensive play caller, a CEO or culture fixer, or a college program builder. There's names for each of those that you have in this list, so I know you have them locked and loaded. What are you looking at in terms of Mike is gone, who do I want next?
Yeah, so, again, offense or chat, please put in offensive guru, CEO type, or college builder through the draft, or whatever, however you want to call it. So for what do I want? I want a CEO type. Yeah, personally, like a Mike Tomlin, get Vance Joseph back as an option. I mean, I'm not saying that these are ones that I would definitely want to sign, but get them in for an interview. You have your young offensive play callers, and I just threw a couple names in here. Joe Brady from the Bills, Todd Monken, Dan Pitcher, who's the Bengals OC. Your college program kind of builders, right? Building through the draft, being able to develop players. Kalen DeBoer, the Alabama head coach. Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, right? So pulling some from the college ranks to come be a head coach at the pro level. I'll be really curious to see what kind of style you want. Do you want a college coach coming to the pros? Do you want a CEO culture fixture, somebody that's going to come in and just manage the shit out of this team and this franchise and let his coaches coach, but hire the right people and make the right decisions? Or do you want a young kind of up and coming, I don't kind of like Mike McDaniel, but we didn't even know Mike McDaniel until we signed him, but kind of one of those Joe Brady ones that are kind of younger. That's always in the conversation.
I think I've really fallen into the wanting a coach who's done it before thing,
Same.
and that's always been the exact opposite of how I felt. But then I think it was somebody in the chat actually pointed out that the last like 4 or 5 coaches we had were all first time head coaches.
Yep.
And I'm just like, okay, well something needs to change then.
Yeah.
And the change I'm looking at is somebody who's done it before. The only college coach I really have any interest in is the Notre Dame guy. I think he is an incredible culture builder. And culture building is where I am leaning heavily on what I want next. So I think, I don't know if he is yet ready to be an NFL head coach. I think he needs a few more years at Notre Dame or maybe an even bigger program. But my eye is on him if this next guy doesn't work out. But in terms of like the guy after Mike, I don't really have names, but I know I want a culture builder. I know I want somebody who's going to come in like Dan Campbell over in Detroit. Thank you, Gator. Marcus Freeman. I want a guy like Dan Campbell who's going to come in and he's going to just flip it upside down. And Dan Campbell does it right. Dan Campbell's doing successfully what Mike McDaniel's trying to do.
I was about to say that
in Miami,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Dan Campbell is the exact same way with his players. His players are first. His players are the best. His players are on a pedestal. He will do anything for them. Run through a wall for them.
Take some kneecaps.
Take some kneecaps for him. But dude, if you F up, you're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah, he found that razor's edge between players, coach, and kind of militant, not dictatorship, but that militant kind of, I'm going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
You're going to do what you need to do when you need to do it, or you're out. And there's no questions asked. There's no, we're here to do, this is a business. And I love that. And that's why Dan Campbell was always my choice. I wish we would have kept him.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some chat going on about Tomlin, by the way, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, I mean, I am firmly in I would prefer if we have a guy who's been a head coach before.
Yeah, I know we haven't gotten to the chat, but most people said CEO culture type guy as well. Yeah.
I think Vrabel was a big miss, and I did not like Vrabel. So last year when people were talking about it, I was like, nah, that's stupid. And obviously I was wrong.
Yeah, and I do think the best thing Vrabel has done so far is hire Josh McDaniel as an OC.
Yeah, well, Josh McDaniel is one of the best OCs there is. He's just a terrible head coach.
Exactly.
Terrible, which is very similar to the McDaniel we have.
All
right, so let's get to the chat real quick, and then we'll get to the next one, which is the quarterback plan. Oh, boy. So True Blazer says CEO. Jorge says CEO. Kosa says that he does not like Mike Tomlin, and there's a lot of spicy takes on that. Abel says that's a very spicy take from Kosa there. Taylor also wants a CEO. Let's see. Last Dolphins head coach hired with NFL coaching experience was Dave Wanstead. What a pull, True Blazer. Thank you for that.
It's a good point.
Yep. So Campanelli, there's the first one I've seen for Campanelli. But I would also like to see somebody who's been a coach before. Malachi jumping into the chat in the hour and 22-minute mark. We don't care. We still appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for popping in. And another I love a Vrabel type for sure. Yeah. All right. You ready to get into quarterbacks?
Yeah. Are we going into this, or are we rapid firing these?
Rapid firing.
I love it.
Rapid firing. Last one of the day. Ready?
Yep.
There are 3 options for the quarterback for Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay.
Commit and extend.
Okay.
Bridge, like trade, move on from him and eat the cap money and find a bridge quarterback like a Geno or somebody like that. Or completely reset. Which reset could be keep him for the year and just whatever, bench him. It could be cut him. It could be trade him, whatever. We're completely resetting the quarterback position. All 3 of them will be gone, and we start over.
So I will throw it to the chat. Chat, please make sure to comment, commit, bridge, or reset with how you feel. For me, this is a very easy choice. For me, it's number 3, reset. For everything Tua is, we know what he isn't. We know it's time for change. We need a revitalized quarterback room. We need a new take on the position. We need, like we do with the GM and like we do with some of the coaching. I think and I am firmly in the school of you need to build a team and then get the quarterback to fit the team, as opposed to finding a quarterback and then building the team around him. For the simple fact that quarterback is the biggest cap hit on a team, usually, maybe one or two of the defensive players, but usually it's the quarterback. And when you're drafting a quarterback specifically, you have a very team-friendly, cap-controlled player for 5 years.
Yeah.
6 if you do I'm blanking on what it's called. Whatever. Anyways.
Your option?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think, I am of let's build the trenches. Let's build it outwards. Let's reset at a lot of positions. Mm-hmm. Let's reset the front office. And then once everything is ready to go, when you think you are a handful of players away from a perennial playoff team, then go get your quarterback in the draft and hope to God you know how to draft.
I want to reset too, because I don't know that we've seen a reset.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a coach fired and the GM kept, a GM fired and the coach kept. We haven't had a full freaking reset to let a GM come in. He's the general manager of the team. He should be able to pick his coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we just haven't seen it. So I want to see it reset. I want to see everything reset. I want to keep the few guys on the team who have proven their worth. I want to try to get some money some draft capital for the guys who are signed beyond this year. Mm-hmm. In the offseason, maybe we can move some of them who are not part of the future plans of the new coach and new GM. And I would eat the money for Tua in a heartbeat. I just don't care. I don't care about it's not. First of all, it's not my money. It's going to be much harder to swallow for a guy like Stephen Ross, who it is his money. And it may be harder for a new GM to come in and say, hey, my first order of business is that I'm going to hit us with a $116 million cap hit.
I think that would be the best decision this franchise has had in the last decade.
But you can put a roster together that's already better than this one, even with the cap limitations. Because if the person is competent at drafting and competent at wheeling and dealing and competent at the cap, then they find ways to sign guys where their first year they're working for the league minimum, and then it's a backloaded contract, right? Yep. And we see teams do this all the time. So I am firmly on the reset thing, and the chat is too. Just looking, if you read between the Tomlin rage,
and the Flores
and
rage
the Flores, the chat's lost control.
We're off the rails.
We gave Kosa permission to just go crazy, and
he is captaining the ship.
He is just absolutely. He's taking it.
I love it.
He's taking it.
Let me ask you in the chat a question real quick. But I know we're rapid fire and we're close to being done here. But do you think, and I happen to think yes, do you think that whoever Ross hires as the next GM, whoever it is, Kelly keeps him, somebody else goes out and finds him, do you think that is the single biggest and most important hire in Ross's tenure as the owner of the Miami Dolphins? I happen to think yes.
The GM or the coach?
The GM.
Yeah. You can't afford. Is this the first time he's done it? Second time he's done it?
No, because he picked Grier.
No, I know, but did he pick Tannenbaum?
I think he either did or he inherited him. I can't remember.
Who was before? I can't even remember who the hell was before Tannenbaum. Was that the guy?
Hold on. Go ahead and filibuster. I'm going to look it up real quick.
You filibuster. I've been filibustering for an hour and a half.
Figure it out.
I think that this is an extremely important. I mean, it's the most important decision that Ross has made for the team. I know he's owned them for a while now, but he is about to hand this team over. He's getting old, right? I don't know how much longer we have with him here on Earth, but also with him just as the owner, because we've heard rumblings that he wants to hand it over. So it's a matter of, do I hand over a piece of crap or do I hand over a product that has the potential to win?
Yeah.
And if you're handing something over to your kids, I bet you want the latter. And
Well, they're already winning. They're billionaires. But
I'm
yes,
still and I'm still a big fan of Steven Ross. And then I'm not a billionaire lover, but I think that he's given money to this team and he's a fan of the team and he's always trying to do the right thing. Has he always done the right thing? No. There's been controversy after controversy under him. And we lost a first round pick because he went and tried to get Tom Brady, and then he went and tried to get the freaking coach that's in Denver now. And then to put egg on his face in the whole situation, he doesn't come home with either of them.
I know.
At least come home with one of them if you're going to have to pay up for it. So I think this decision determines whether or not we see a winning season in our lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. So I have the answer. So Ross bought the team in 2009. And by the way, I happen to agree with everything you said. Sorry. Jeff Ireland was hired.
That's who I was thinking of.
Jeff Ireland was hired as the GM the year before Ross purchased his team. So he inherited Jeff Ireland, but kept him until 2014. Then he hired Dennis Hickey. Shout out. Yep. Shout out.
I do not remember that.
Yep. He was only there for a year, 2014 to 2015.
Wow.
And then in 2016 until this year, it was Chris Grier. And now Champ Kelly also this year.
Jeff Ireland had a lot of controversy around him too.
Ugh, I fucking hated that guy. I wanted to punch him in the neck.
All right, we got to close up shop for tonight. Anybody in the chat have last words, last opinions that they want to put in here before we see you next Wednesday for our preview show against, who the hell do we play? New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, we play the Saints next. Feeling pretty good about that right now.
That's a dub.
Obviously. Costa and Abel having a friendly interaction.
I love it. I love it.
All right, guys. We did draft grades tonight. We gave our team a C-, which is below average, which is what to be expected for a 4-7 team. So thank you all so much for playing our game of report card this week and getting involved in what do we do next with this team? What kind of GM do we want to see? What kind of coach do we want to see? What the hell do we do with the quarterback situation? There's a lot of looming questions coming for our team, and shit, we're going to be here for all of them. So I hope you guys keep coming back and having these conversations with us, because I mean, it's kind of boring if you're not here to talk to us. Josh is great, but I don't want to talk to him.
There's only so much of you I can take. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I love you, buddy. Who the hell am I kidding?
Love you too, dude. Love doing this. Love doing this show. Love you guys in the chat. Huge shout out to all of you. There's too many names for me to read. My throat is killing me. It's been an hour and a half. So you know who you are. Appreciate you so much. Think about these things for next time. And we'll throw them in like the chat after the video post too. Who is your biggest surprise on the report card? What is your personal GM, head coach, and quarterback combo? Like if you could pick anybody that's available, don't pick guys that are not available. That's cheating. I'm gonna see a bunch of people being like Shula Marino.
Yeah.
Who's your personal GM, head coach, and QB combo? And then we'll put it in the chat again. We'll talk about it next week when we come back next Wednesday. We're taking Monday off, a rare day off during the season. Yes. Gonna rest our voices, spend some time with the fam, and then we'll be back next Wednesday to talk about the New Orleans Saints. If you miss us, don't worry. We will be putting out content every single day leading up to next Wednesday. So there will be plenty for you to watch, although most of it will just be repeats of this show. So if you missed anything, Abel, you'll be able to watch it. All right, Josh, thanks so much again, buddy. It was a great show tonight. That's it for the 305 Gridiron. For Josh, a.k.a. Aqua Ace, over here to my left, I am Anthony Pinzone. This has been another episode of the 305 Gridiron, where we're talking Miami Dolphins all the time, anytime. Josh's new saying is standards apply, accountability is mandatory. We will see you guys after the bye. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic weekend without Dolphins football. And we will see you next time. Fins up, baby.